Musicians, who else is sick and tired of creating content all the time, and maybe even you're getting views, but they're not translating into streams? See, the content game wouldn't be all that bad if you saw that even though you only got 500 views, there was some relative increase in your streams. It would make it kind of worth it. But when you're constantly grinding and you're getting actually over time thousands of views, but nothing's happening on the streaming front, it can be really disheartening. But one thing you need to know is this problem actually transcends content. I've been in the game long enough that I had this same problem with radio. Back in the day, we were in the top 25 Billboard indicator charts for mainstream rock, and we were getting told all this stuff from our label, like, look how many spins we're getting. It's the equivalent to views, right? Look at all these spins that you're getting. It's perfect. We're getting so many spins. We're going to be on the indicator charts, and it's going to be great. Well, I looked at the Spotify, and nothing had changed. I'm like, okay, hold up, pump the brakes. We're spending 5 figures, thousands of dollars to make this work, and I'm not seeing any fruit of this. I'm seeing you get the spins and the accolades, but I don't really know what that translates to if we don't have any fans regularly streaming our music. So how do we fix this? Well, it all comes to looking at this like views are a vehicle. Views are a vehicle to get people to the streams. But if you don't know how to drive the vehicle or operate the vehicle, you're dead in the water. You're like a dog who finally catches the car and you don't know what to do with it. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you what you actually do with it. How do you get people to not only pay attention to you, but actually take the desired action to go listen to the music that you've worked so hard to put out, okay? So let's get locked in and let's dive into this. So the first thing that we need to understand is that you can't just have views. Not all views are created equally, okay? You need to have quality views. So one of the things that I recommend, by the way, first and foremost, you have to have some kind of headline. Now, I say have to. I'm painting with a broad brush here. There's types of formats with content where maybe the hook is a visual hook as opposed to an actual text headline that's over the video. I just think it's easier to do this for every single artist, no matter what level you're at. You can do the text headline over whatever video that you've got out, and there's a chance it will do well if you actually implement the things I'm about to talk about. So the first thing is, okay, this headline that we create, we have to understand that the goal can't just be views, okay? Because I'm gonna be very blunt and unapologetic about this, because I don't believe it serves anybody any value for me to sugarcoat or lie about anything. So let's just think about this from the example of females, right? Females out there, you have, just from a black and white, pure objective marketing standpoint, statistically, if you have a female in a video, the likelihood that you actually get retention in the video increases by, I believe, like 40%. There's statistical realities that show that women can garner attention a lot easier. Now, here's the thing. Let's think about this. Women that are watching this and the guys who maybe are trying to empathize with this, you have the ability then, if you're a female, to get attention. Let's just be honest. A little bit more skin you show, a little bit more cleavage that you show, you know you're going to get more views. But here's the question. Are those the kind of views you really want? Right? What are those views going to translate into? Not streams most likely, but probably DMs from some very thirsty dudes. And so you have to balance that. So you have to understand, okay, I can get attention, but how do I get attention in a way that I control the frame, right? Because if you're just going and getting attention in this analogy, by showing skin, the frame is kind of established, right? It's overtly obvious why you've got all these thirsty people in your comments. However, if you're a female, in this example, you can use your power in that sense like a surgeon, very tactilely, so that you can garner attention, but you don't just garner attention for attention's sake, right? Because if we do that, that's going to lead us down the path of seeking validation, because views can get very conflated with validation. The more views I have, the more validated I am as a successful artist, and the less views I have, the less validated I am. That's the completely wrong frame to have. We're going to throw that frame in the garbage, shoot it into the sun, burn it on fire forever. Just imagine that, okay? Now the new perspective is, when it comes down to your marketing, okay, there's two sides to it. Just because there's two sides to anything. Show me a one-sided pancake. I doubt you can. So attraction is the main goal that we think, in marketing. And attraction and views are very interwoven, right? We think, oh, if I'm getting the attraction to the audience that I'm looking to get, I'll get the views. That'll be reflected in the views. Not always so. Sometimes marketing is about the opposite side of that coin, which is repulsion. It's like a battery, right? Marketing is the battery. It's the power source of your music business. But there's a positive and negative charge in marketing, just like in your batteries, right? The positive charge is the attraction. Okay, I've got the stuff that I'm putting out there where I'm sort of bringing in the people who have values and things that resonate with what I believe, right? But there's also the side of marketing where you're pushing away the people that are not good fits. So to use this example of a female, right? Yes, you could, in one sense, focus just on the attraction side. But that means we're leaving out the repulsive side. So now we're not repulsing all of those thirsty dudes in the comment section. We're actually attracting them because we're only focused on the views. We're only focused on the attraction and the validation, as opposed to being okay with your views being lower because you know the quality of person that will stick around is higher. Do you understand? It's okay if you're, I have a few female clients, so I can speak to this from firsthand experience working with them, which is your views may go down if you don't lean in 100% into, showing more skin and all that stuff. But what if the people that stuck around had a higher likelihood to actually go listen to your music? Then would it matter that you're getting 500 views a video as opposed to 3,000? Well, you would appreciate the 500 views of video if it was translating into streams, right? But we get so mixed up in thinking, I've got to have this massive overwhelm of views, and then at some point, through some sort of trickle-down thing, I'm going to get a percentage of those people to go over and stream it, when that's not the case. You can have views where you have 1 million views, and not a single stream can come of it. Why? Because we're missing the rest of these components that I'm about to talk about. So, number 2. All right, we've already talked about you have to have quality people. So you have to create a headline and a hook that is attracting that quality person, and the visual hook that's attracting that quality person, not just attracting any Tom, Dick, and Harry who could potentially look at our video and may or may not be a good fit. No. We create something that's directed towards people that are quality, ideal fits for our music. Second thing, this headline, this hook, has to touch on a relevant emotion. This is a huge, huge essential part of this. So when you're creating a piece of content, it could serve 2 functions. It could be something where the music is in the background and the visuals and the hook serve the purpose of taking people who are cold from a marketing perspective and making them warm. They went to, I don't even know who this person is, to now they're interested and they know you and like you. Excuse me. You can have that kind of stuff, but that's not always going to translate to views, because the purpose of those videos that I just mentioned is to garner attention to the brand, not necessarily take action on the music, because the music is sort of, it's like an aesthetic third-party thing that's happening in the background. Like, think when you're at the mall, right? The main attraction is everything that you can get at the mall. The music is there to reinforce the experience. And so a lot of videos are created with that, where the video is sort of getting people to pay attention to the main attraction, and the music is there as sort of a support system to the overall situation. However, and I think this is a good frame of looking at it, because in either context, you can view the music as the soundtrack to the scenario, and it's just how connected, how literal is that situation to the lyrics of the music. If they're completely disconnected, it doesn't matter. That's a video that's about brand recognition and attention. But if now you have a hook or a title that's relevant to the song's situation, now we can start to tap into the relevant emotions that will get people to act. So that's the second type of way that we can use music in the content, is that the music is actually the main feature. The music is the payoff, the punchline, whatever, the thing that gives them the reward for us touching on that relevant emotion. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. This is like a bridge from a fan to a song, okay? If I have a breakup song, you miss somebody, but they're not coming back, right? They're long gone. And so you're having this, kind of like breakup tune. You want to touch on the relevant emotions that someone who's going to resonate with a breakup song is thinking. So I want you to, don't even think about, as a musician, don't try to think of lyrics, don't try to think of melodies. Think of ideas and phrases that someone who is going through a breakup, for this example, is going through? What are those things that they're saying to themselves? What's the story that's going on in their head? And how can you step into that story and basically be someone who makes them feel understood? That's one of the most powerful things that we can do in our marketing, is show the fan that the music is someone or a thing that gets who they are and what they've been through. That's really what a lot of music fans are looking for. They're sort of looking for something to ease an emotion, like quell maybe depression or quell anger, but they're also probably also looking for some sense of like validation in this, not in a negative way, but like, hey, I understand what you're going through. When we make our hooks on our videos tap into that, now the connection that we can have with them is exponentially more potent. It's exponentially better because you're not just doing some kind of fun, hey, grimace shake, trend thing, which I'm guilty. I did it too. We're not just doing something like that. We're doing something where we're tapping into the emotions that actually matter to somebody. Because in the end, the reason most people's content doesn't turn into streams is because there's no real connection that's been established to the music. There's been maybe a funny, haha, that was entertaining. But it wasn't something that actually got them enthralled in the music and got them connected to it in a way that they're going to now go stream it. Those are two different things. So we have to figure out, how do we create this potent connection, create a bridge between where the fan is in their life now and the music that I desire to put in front of them, right? So what is the relevant story, lyric, moral message of my song? And what are the messages, the thoughts and ideas of my fan that I can think of where those two things are a perfect match to one another, right? So it may be a certain lyric in the verses, it could be in the chorus, it doesn't really matter, but there's a lyric in your song that matches with an idea that's in their head right now. And you put those two things together with an even relatively good visual background, and you're going to start connecting. People think, oh, I've got to have all these visuals to connect. Guys, people used to connect via direct mail. People used to build connections in marketing through letters in the mail. You do not always need the most high-def videos to be successful. You need to have words and ideas and emotions that connect with your dream fans, okay? So that's probably one reason that a lot of musicians' content is not leading to streams, is because it's that first type of content that I'm mentioning, where it's like attention to the brand, attention to me as an artist, but it's not attention to here's how this song connects with you and why you need it in your playlist to listen to it over and over again so that it can ease and make you feel better about this one emotion that you have. That's what we need to be focusing on, because that's what's going to get people to have a vested interest in listening to the music more. You sing something that just, I mean, honestly, I saw a cover of Dead and Bloated by Stone Temple Pilots, and it was like this acoustic version, and the guy, he sang it higher than the original key, and something about it sounded more country and bluesy, but I just loved the way that it sounded, right? I loved that environment, and so that emotion he was kind of tapping into was nostalgia, right? But he was doing it in a very fun way. He was giving it just not just rehashing the same stuff. It was building a connection, not just through like, I'm touching into all the deep, sensitive emotions, but I'm also tapping into like, you're probably someone who likes music from the 90s, like STP. Wasn't that music so good? Here's my cool rendition of it. That's still connecting with someone. Right? Don't misconstrue what I'm saying to where everything has to be like the heaviest emotional thing you can think of, just because the overarching terms I'm using to describe it may make it seem that way. They're just big overarching terms because that's the principles of psychology and marketing as they're applied. Okay? So we have to understand those emotional, pulses that we can put our finger on and go, oh, I know exactly what they're saying. I know exactly what they're thinking, and here's how my song fits right into the story that's in their head right now. What are the words I need to do to tap into those relevant emotions? All right, the final thing. This is, to me, the most probably important part of the puzzle, because you can get all the previous stuff right, and it's like, we're right there, we're right at the finish line, but if you don't do this, it can potentially hurt your conversions to getting view to stream, which is simply, you're going to be so shocked at this, asking By the way, don't anybody hate on my super hot pink cup. It's a Brahms cup. I will take no Brahms slander. I'll make sure I point that out every episode. So we have to ask them. We have to have some kind of call to action. That's really a big piece that a lot of people are missing. People, musicians specifically, make these sort of general descriptive statements and pretend like it's a call to action. Like, call to actions are telling people what to do, but a lot of people don't do them in a way that actually is effective. So, for example, listen now is like, it's better than out now. Out now is a descriptive thing. Hey, the music is out now. That's not telling me to do anything. You're trying to like implicitly suggest, oh, it's out now, so therefore you should want it. But that does not mean that's what the consumer is going to think in their head when they hear out now. They hear, oh, it's out now. Like, that's what they think. They don't think, oh, it's out now, I should probably therefore go stream it. They may have that fleeting thought, but then they've scrolled to the next piece of content and they forgot about doing that 3 pieces of content later. So how do you actually get them to move? You ask them to do something. So listen now is better than out now, because listen now is a command. Notice, hey, it's out now. Hey, listen now. One is a command to do something. So listen now is better, but still that's not, I'd give it like a C minus. You know, it's not the greatest thing in the world. What you want to do is something like be extremely clear in your instructions. This is a very important principle of like the 10 commandments of direct response marketing, is you have to be very clear in your instructions with people. And so what that looks like is in the caption, instead of say, you know, quotes, song, listen now. C minus. What you could say now is go to Spotify and type in this and listen now. You may think, oh, it's semantical. They know to do that. Just because someone knows they can do that does not mean they're influenced to do that. You doing the command is how you help them be influenced to do that. They know they can do that. They know they can do lots of things. But to get them influenced to do something, you have to ask them. Now, maybe something even more, fancy. That previous one was maybe like a B, right? Maybe we say something like, experience the insert song name by going to Spotify and typing in, and it's like your artist name. Click the link in my bio. Whew. Notice that was chocked full of commands, right? Experience the song name, because maybe the song title is a descriptive word that flows into that sentence naturally. Experience the blank, that's a command. Listen now by clicking the link in the bio. That's like 2 commands. Listen now by clicking the link in the bio. And then I think I also said like type in this on Spotify. So it's like chocked full of commands. And that's really the language of call to actions, is commands. And so you have to learn how to do direct, straight up commands. You have to learn how to do like embedded, kind of subtle commands, especially when you're communicating through text and email. And when I say text, I mean like the captions on the screen and things like that. Which is, by the way, you may be thinking, how am I going to do this call to action? You probably have to look at it from this. There's 3 ways you can do it. 1, you tell them. You get on the camera and you say, hey, go to Spotify, type in this and listen to this song. You're going to love it. Experience the blank below. Click the link in my bio. You can tell them that. Or you can put it in the caption. So your video has got the video running, the headline running over it, and then underneath in the captions is where the call to action lives. So it's kind of subtly sitting there in their sort of subconscious. If they're focusing on your video and they're reading the text, that text is still being absorbed by the subconscious. It's just not being tracked currently at that present moment by the conscious mind. So you've got that embedded command sort of behind the scenes as they're watching your video. So I kind of like that. Then you could also just have a call to action headline, right? So they've got the hook that gets them into the video, and then maybe it switches for another group of text that says all the kind of stuff we were just mentioning, call to actions. Do this to get this, right? So those are some ways that you can actually present the call to action, those 3 ways. Just straight up talk to them, talk to the camera and tell them, what to do. Have it in the captions so it's kind of sitting there behind the scenes subconsciously. Or you just put it directly in their face and have a headline. So either you're doing it, the text is doing it, or the caption's doing it, all right? Now, again, they have to be commands, because if we're just like, you could possibly go listen to this song one day whenever it's out in 3 weeks, no one's ever going to do anything, right? Like, that's not helpful. Even if you say, yeah, it's out tomorrow, still does nothing for people, right? You have to understand, this is something that we really need to talk about maybe in another video about content, which is communicating between cold, warm, and hot fans, right, from a marketing perspective. The language you use with each of those categories is different. They really are. Like, think about it. Out now is actually a great line for your super hot diehard fans. They don't need much commands, right? So, I mean, I still don't recommend even with them that you use that very crappy headline. Don't ever use out now. But I'm just saying, out now, if it's going to be persuasive to anybody, it's going to be the person who is obsessed with you and wants to watch every video you've ever put out on every platform. It's like someone who watches reruns on television, right? They're watching the reruns of your short form content on every profile, and then you put a song out and they stream it to death. That person might respond to out now. But the language of someone who doesn't really know who you are, out now might as well mean, which is nothing. They don't know what it means, and it doesn't really mean anything, because they're not going to do anything with the information of out now. So you might as well have just said, hey guys, and that would have had the same amount of impact. Might actually have done better. People would have been like, what the hell did they just say? And you get more traction in your comments than if you just said out now. That's how bad out now is, because not only does it not produce a positive reaction or a negative reaction, it produces an indifferent reaction, which is worse than a negative reaction. So at least if you went instead of out now, people would had this negative reaction like, what the hell? But you have to understand that, like, you have to tell them to do something, right? So if you're in the cold perspective, maybe you have to say something like, experience your new favorite rock artist by clicking the link in the bio and streaming this new song blank, right? That language is a little bit more geared to the person who doesn't know you. It's like, what's going on here? It's like someone who just walked into like an event where everyone knows what's going on, but they haven't been there from the beginning, so they're totally out of the loop. So they just kind of like walk in and go, what's going on? And musical chairs? What's happening? And so for someone who's never heard of you, you have to kind of instruct them. I'm like, hey, welcome to the place. Here, this is where you go. You go to the link in the bio, and then you click the Spotify link. And some people think people are smart. They know what to do. You'd be surprised. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say people are dumb, because I think people are both simultaneously really smart at stuff and really dumb at stuff, because I know how I am, and I'm really, really, really smart at stuff, but I'm also really, really dumb at other stuff. I mean, if anyone else is like me, because I'm a human being, I'm pretty sure that we've all got that. So I don't want to say people are dumb, but people are not great at following instructions. Put it that way. Especially in America, if you look at like schooling statistics, our direction following abilities is not very good. So it's very good to have super clear instructions where you're telling people exactly what to do. All right. Now, to kind of finish this up, I want you to really take this all into perspective now. If you go out and you try to use views as the vehicle for streams, but you don't know how to use the view once you get it, it's all for naught. So how do we start choreographing that result? We find out how we can create a headline, whether visual or a hook. I call them headlines. But a headline that will attract a quality view that's tapping into a relevant emotion, and we command them to listen to the music with clear instructions. That's really the three pieces that a lot of people are missing in their content. The quality of views is ignored because the headline is just sort of indiscriminately attracting whoever, or it just, doesn't even really make any sense in the context of the music. It's not even attracting anybody to a relevant emotion to the music. And they don't have a call to action. So they either don't tell people to go stream the music, they just mention that they could go follow them, or they tell them to comment something, which they plan to do nothing with that information other than just to like respond to the comment and go, cool, heart emoji. No, you have to have, if you're going to tell people to comment, tell them to comment because you're going to send them a free download of your newest single, and the way that they're going to get it is by joining your email list. Don't do this stuff where you're just commanding people to do stuff that's a waste of time. It's a waste of their breath and waste of their time and attention. If you're going to get them to take any action, drive them to go listen to the music. Guys like Connor Price, who I talk about all the time on this channel, who absolutely killed it as independents, utilized this strategy explicitly, where even in the video there were subtle, unmentioned, like in the background there would be a whiteboard that says click the link in the bio, and he never draws attention to it. It's just supposed to be a subconscious kind of thing in the background, right? So we have to focus on tapping into attracting the right people, even if that means repulsing people because they're the wrong people. We have to figure out what emotions are relevant to them as it relates to my music, and then how can I give them the call to action. Am I going to do it with a headline that's in the middle of the video so it swaps out the original headline for the call to action headline? Am I going to just put it in the captions? Am I going to just tell them to do it? Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you want to listen to it, go blah, 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 blah. Right? So whatever you want to do, that's how you start to get people from viewer over into listener. All right? And so if you got some value from this video, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, all that kind of good YouTube-y stuff. We also have a free YouTube, or not a free YouTube community. We have a free community that I have called the Musicians Ignite Syndicate. You can get access to that by clicking the link in the description. And then finally, if you'd like some one-on-one help implementing these direct marketing systems into your music business, click the link that's in the description to apply for a one-on-one coaching call. It's totally free, but it's to see if we're a good fit to actually help you in your music business. So if you're interested in that, click that link in the description. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in another video inside of Musicians Ignite. Take care.